Hi everybody, my name is Justin Osborne. I am the executive winemaker here at Four Daughters, and this is the pre-lobster boil video. This is for everyone to watch before they come to our lobster boil, one of our biggest events of the year, just so you can get confident in cleaning your lobster. This is going to be, I don't know, maybe like I've been to 10 of them, I think, so at this point I think I know what I'm doing, and I want to show you what I've learned over the past 10 lobster boils. When you're eating a lobster, you kind of have three main parts. You've got your tail here, you've got the legs, at least the large one, the legs and the claws, and you have the body of the lobster. So those are the three main parts that we're going to deal with, and we'll start with the biggest, most obvious one. Everyone knows lobster tails. Lobster tail is pretty easy to get off. You just kind of grab it by the body here and take this tail, and you can just kind of pull it side to side, and there we go. Everything comes out. You got a little green on here. This is what's known as the tamale of the lobster. Completely edible. A lot of people like it. A lot of people dip bread into it. If you don't like it, all you have to do is just kind of rub it off there. So there's your tail. And then for the legs and the claws, pretty simple. We'll just pull them off. They come off real easy. Here we go. There we go. And then as the body's going to be a little more intensive, a little more advanced. We'll leave that over there. So let's move on over here and start dealing with these main parts. So to get the meat out of this tail, it's pretty simple. You don't need anything other than your hands, really. All you have to do is obviously hold it and then grab these fins here on the backside and just kind of take those fins off. You know, sometimes it's a little bit harder to do these things, and you're going to have to kind of put a little work into it. It's never going to be perfect. It's not going to be clean always, but it is actually pretty easy. So you've got the little lobster meat right there, and easy thing to do is just take your thumb and just push your thumb in there, and the whole tail should come right to get the next piece of meat out of this lobster after the tail right here. We'll move on to the claws. Now, the way I like to do this, I like to separate the claw from the legs. And there are some spines and spikes here, and you know, it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's pretty easy. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, ask one of the servers or anyone at Four Daughters, and we can help you with this. But yeah, I just separate that. I'll do it again here. You see the joint kind of bends like this. I like to kind of go just against the joint. Piece of cake. So we're gonna work on this claw here, and inside every piece of meat, usually there's something called a feather. It's kind of like a cartilagey piece. You see it a lot in crab legs. You've got a big one here in the claw. So the way to get that feather out, and you got to be delicate if you can, just crack that bottom part pincher out, and there you go. That's what's known as the feather. And we'll take that off. We'll go over here to some of the tools of the trade. These are what's known as sticks, I guess. And this is a crab cracker, claw cracker. We'll go for a cracker here, and what I like to do, I like to go into the thicker part down here, and I like to crack this. And I don't want to just pulverize it and plow right through all the meat in there. I want to crack it gently. Let's see if I can show you. Okay, it's a gentle crack, and if you get that gentle crack and you can kind of pull it apart gently, you can keep everything intact. See, there's your whole claw. Just like that worked perfectly. For those of you who really want to get every last bit out, you can well, that didn't work very well. Here we go. You can get a stick here and poke this meat, or pull it out actually. There we go. There's every last bit of the claw that you can get. And obviously the other side, same thing. All right, last part of the legs is this part that was attached to the claw until a moment ago. They say some of the best meat in the lobster is in these legs and these knuckles. It is a little bit difficult to get out. There's not a lot of it there. The easiest way to do it, I think, is to separate all the joints, and this larger joint can be a bit of a bear to get into. There are a couple different ways to do it. Some people like to take this poker, the stick, and they like to stab the cartilage here over and over and over again. and that kind of loosens it up, and it makes it so that you are able to snap it backwards. There we go. And then you've got your two different joints here, and you can take your stick and you can poke the meat out like that, or you can also take your cracker, put a little crack on it, and then pull it apart, make it a little bit more accessible. And sometimes, if you get it large enough, you can get your whole finger in there and then just push it out. So there we go. There's some knuckle meat, which they say is the best part of this lobster. Okay, so we've got all the meat out of our tail, out of our legs and claws, and lastly, we have the body here. This is kind of where the adventure begins. A lot of you probably won't do this, but if you want to, I'll do my best to show you how it's done. First thing you want to do, you want to take off every one of these little legs here. A bunch of little feathers come out. That's not meat. Don't be fooled. Got all but one. All right, legs are off. There's a tiny amount of meat in here. If you want to work for that, be my guest. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to kind of separate this top shell from the bottom. To do that, you're going to have to put your thumb in there and just kind of pull it off, kind of like the hood of your car. There you go. There's going to be a decent amount of tamale in there again, which is very edible. You can eat it. But that's not what we're going to worry about right now. Here, I'll just kind of scrape this out. What we're after here is there's some meat down here, and this is actually where jumbo lump crab meat comes from, or lump crab meat comes from there. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to split it in half, and there's going to be some mess. You're just going to have to get used to that if you want to get to that. There we go. So in here, you can squeeze out. There's some meat in here that you can squeeze out, and there we go. There's some more meat. Again, no one ever said it was clean or easy. There's some there. There's some on this side too. It's kind of like the spine of the crab. You're kind of working on each side of it, and then so this is the spine. We're just trying to get this white meat out, and it's just a couple bites, but that's where lump lobster meat comes from. Well, and that's it. Your lobster is done. It's completely cleaned. No one ever said it was going to be clean. You will get a little bit messy. Don't worry, we have bibs for you. Just kind of get into it. If you're not a little bit messy, that means you're not having fun. So with that, good luck, and we look forward to seeing you guys at our next lobster boil.